Welcome back to the Monsters of the Midday. I'm Mark Rogers. We'll be joined again tomorrow by Mr. Dusty Dvorak away today on Television at Duty. I want to say thank you to the Dignity Memorial Network. They've hosted us here today at the Sunny Lane Cemetery on Veterans Day, benefiting veterans of the United States military with the OKC Veterans Ride. It's the first time they've done it, and it's been a big success. They're going to be stopping at 6 different spots. This afternoon, they'll be hitting Memorial Park Cemetery at 3, and they will be hitting the Chapel Hill Memorial Gardens coming up today at 4 o'clock, where they will finish today. So watch out for all those bikers. If you want more information regarding the Veterans Ride, email OKCVeteransRide2015 at dignitymemorial.com. We have a special guest, noted author, Norman resident J. Brent Clark, who has written a book on Darrell Royal, Texas Caesar. Brent, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to talk to you. Man, Darrell Royal had to be an extremely interesting person to write a book about. Oklahoma native, played football for the Sooners, and then went to Texas, where he was one of their most beloved football coaches. So how did this guy pull it off at two schools that are such heated rivals?
Well, of course, that's the story. How is this possible to pull off? But he certainly did it. And I was reading his obituaries when he passed away in November of 2012. And, of course, he's an icon in the coaching profession. He's a Hall of Fame coach, and he's up there in that rarefied air along with Bear Bryant and Bud Wilkinson and a few others. And I knew all that, but what was missing from the obits was the first 30 years of his life, when he was not only an Oklahoma native, he was an All-American at OU and one of Bud's first truly great players. And so I decided that I would explore telling the whole story and putting a human face on this coach, which is what Texas Caesar is about. It's putting a human face on a splendid coach, a fine human being, but who had divided loyalties, and he was able to pull that off. He was a fierce competitor, playing in the annual game between Texas and Oklahoma, wearing the crimson and cream. He was very proud of the fact that he was 3-1 as a Sooner against Texas in 4 years. But then, of course, when he got down to Austin, he was just like a chameleon. He could change color, and he became a very fierce competitor wearing the burnt orange.
I think for media people and authors like yourself, it's easy to comprehend how that can happen, and it's very difficult for fans to comprehend how that can happen, because a fan knows only one loyalty. You go to OU, you go to Oklahoma State, and you've known that for your entire life, and I don't think you can see the perspective of how other people can change. Is that when you're wearing and carrying the banner for a certain school, you don't work at that certain school, you don't attend that certain school anymore, and you're working for another school, then you go to work every day for that place, right? I mean, that's how that works. I mean, I'm sure that I don't know that you could say it's not fair to question Brent whether deep down he was really an OU guy or a Texas guy, or is it just fair to say that when he was at those places, he was all in for those places?
Well, let me do a couple things.
Sure.
I think you'll like this. This is kind of fun. I don't know if you watch the Jimmy Kimmel show or not, but he has a regular spot called Terrible Tweets.
Yeah.
And he has these great celebrities on, and they read these absolutely horrible tweets that they've received. And now that my book is being reviewed on Amazon.com, I was reminded about the terrible tweets, because I'm getting some terrible reviews, and I've got one I want you to listen to.
Okay.
I get some real nice ones, too, but this is a hoot. Here's the review. This is a book about Oklahoma University using Darrell Royal as bait to get a wider audience to buy the book. It is excruciatingly boring to read so much about OU. No one outside Oklahoma gives a hoot about their football, recognizing there's nothing there except the program that has a long history of paying athletes through local car dealerships to go there. They cheat to win, and they're proud of it. Now, that's what you deal with when you put your book or your film or your record or whatever it is out there. And I expected this. I really did. because many fans, have blinders on. And the person that wrote this, I'm certain, has no knowledge about Darrell's modest upbringing in Hollis, Oklahoma, about how that community actually raised him and gave him the values that he had by the time he was 18, and went off to war, World War II. He was already a great student of the game, and he played in the military, and there a lot of coaches found out how good he was and how competitive he was, and that led to a lot of scholarship offers. And of course, he chose OU, which wasn't a surprise. It was his dream to play for OU. So he was, as you know, one of the finest punters that ever pulled on the Crimson and Cream. He was adept at the coffin corner kick. And he played halfback a lot of the time, D-back almost all the time, at a time when players played both ways. And then he played quarterback after he got the chance because there was a lot of great players around at the time.
You know, you've said that real quick. We've got a real quick time for one more. You said he's ultra competitive, so I understand that. How was his relationship with Coach Switzer after he retired? Did those guys have a respect for each other? I know it was very hostile when the two competed against each other.
Let me just tell you, and I'll tell you more than you want to know about this. I knew Darrell when I was with the NCAA. I'd been in his office, and I was a little concerned about it, being an OU person, sitting in his office in the stadium in Austin. And I don't even remember why I was there, but I had some material to share with him. And when I was finished, that's when I said, well, now, Coach, I'm getting ready to leave, but I wanted you to know that I'm an OU guy, undergrad and law school. And a big grin came across his face, and he said, well, I'm an OU guy, too. He said, you want to go to lunch?
That's funny.
We went to Jester dormitory where the athletes lived, and had lunch, sat with a bunch of athletes, and he was just as charming and kind and considerate as he could be. And that's the Darrell Royal that people need to remember. Not that he was the enemy, but that he loved his hometown, he loved its people, he loved the University of Oklahoma, and he loved Bud Wilkinson in particular, along with all of his teammates, who loved him, by the way. So that this business of going off to Texas to coach is just a twist of fate. But we need to put it in perspective and look at a human being for their character in the context of the events of the day.
Hey, Brent, I know it's going to be an interesting read, and you can get copies of it at jbrentclark.com, Texas Caesar, Amazon.com, everywhere else?
That's right.
Okay. Hey, we appreciate your time. We'll do it again soon. Best of luck.
That'll work. Thank you, Mark.
Okay. All right. Brent Clark, author of Texas Caesar. Darrell Royal is a very interesting guy, I think, for all those reasons that we talked about. Legendary Texas coach, legendary Oklahoma football player.